Back to A Division we go, and this time it is our former champions, the Lock Monsters, up against the Big Hawks. Welcome to the RSHL. Daniel Wilson here. Well, it's been a story for both teams. They got quite a bit of scoring done throughout the season, but they're having a hard time with their defense, as both goaltenders going into today's game got a goal against average of above 4, and in this league that's not very good. So we need to look for both sides to step up their defense. So we're gonna have to have everyone try to spread out, go man to man. Let's see how that works out. Let's go to the breakdown, and for the Lock Monsters, let's go with Patrick Barbado. Bit of a mixed bag for him, but he currently leads the team on points, 3 goals, 6 assists so far this season. So far, the team has been keeping their penalties to a minimum, only bringing in 6 penalty minutes. But again, goaltending, would like to see those stats go up, going in at a 4.5 goal against average. On the other side, Steve Nato, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. He leads the team. Would like to see some more of that, but so far it looks like penalties have been an issue, at least not a major issue. 16 penalty minutes, so they're gonna have to try to play smart and just try to give their goaltenders some support. So with that out of the way, it is time for some A Division action. The ball drop is next. Officials for this game, Pelka at center and Greg Carlanti on the boards as we are underway in our A Division matchup. As the Lock Monsters try to go for the attack, and the defense pitching in for the Big Hawks. Dave Stella moving in on Tony DiGiacomo. I'll play back to his D-man as they will reset their attack. Down deep, Chris Young will cross it. Reed Southern. Well, he'll lift it up. Is this one going to be an icing? And it is. 30 seconds in, and it is going to be back in the Big Hawk zone. Draw one by the Big Hawks and dumped around the boards, but this is going to end up in the possession of the Lock Monsters, but unable to hold it, and they are forced to retreat. We'll chip it up, and this will just get possession right back. And it will be a wide of the net as the Lock Monsters will reset. They got possession time early, but so far has not generated any scoring chances. And there's another turnover in the offensive zone. Brian Hooks will dump it back down. So far it's been a cautious game, as he will looking at Steve Nato, try to connect towards center to Jack Edgecombe, but this is an icing, this time against the Lock Monsters. Edgecombe decided to move over to the Lock Monsters, and he is a dangerous shooter, so let's see if that bolsters the offense. But so far, defense has been an issue for both sides, as Edgecombe will play it left, looking at Hooks, gave it away, and back the other way to St. Louis. Tangled up and decides to go back. Brian Hooks takes a look, decides on a long bomb and a save. Dave Story in the net for the Lock Monsters. And he is one that usually faces quite a lot of shots. And of course, he is a great goaltender. It just hasn't been getting the support that he needed. will cross, intended for Galt, and it's going to go back the other way. Reed Southern winds up way high and wide, and he'll just let it go for the Hawk Monsters to take over. Passes upwards to Nick Christopoulos. Former Bender before they had disbanded, so he had joined the Lock Monsters. Ryan will hold on for possession, taken away by Young. And back it goes. Reed Southern taking a look and will go towards center. Intended that for Chris Young, but it's going to go outside the zone one more time to NATO. Back to Southern. Will cross to Brian Hooks. He'll wind up for another long bomb, but it's deflected and it hits the ceiling. And we'll see where this goes. I think this is going to stay inside the Lock Monster zone. As the Lock Monsters will try again. Well, I don't know what he was trying to look for. Maybe he was looking for DiGiacomo, but instead it's going to go to Reed Southern. Around. And for Joey Murphy. Toss up for control. It's going to go to the Lock Monsters. And he'll take a look and retreat. Trotting along and waiting for everybody to get into position. Tries for a pass towards center, but misses everybody. But play will continue. And this one's dumped out. And this time it is an icing against the Big Hawks. Back to the corner, Brian Hooks will backhand it around the boards. Reaches Steve Nato. And battle for control behind it. Oh, a big turnover and a save down low. John Cowan who had joined the Big Hawks. Here's a shot. That one may have got tipped wide. But Cowan, we have not seen him in action for quite a while. Let's see if he can get that rust off. And try for a deep pass, and I think they're going to let play go. Yes, it would have reached Story anyway. Dave Stella crosses, intended for St. Louis, but instead we'll go to Christopoulos. Christopoulos looking at Hooks, holds up, looking at St. Louis, passes to Murphy, got tied up, unable to get a shot, and dumped down once again, and again Story has to play it. Winds up, shot, and saved by Cowan. Southern intended for Hooks, he will get it. Another long bomb and a save by Story. As the Lock Monsters once again gain control. It seems like the Big Hawks have been more focusing on going for long bombs. Here's another one from NATO that goes wide. It seems like the Hawks are playing a bit cautious here. And Southern trying to poke check it, successful, but it will go back to the Lock Monsters. Crosses, intended for Edgecombe. Edgecombe gets a shove from Hooks. St. Louis taking control, they're going the other way. And he'll just dump it down a bouncer, saved by Story. Edgecombe back for the Lock Monsters. Crosses again. And backhanded, saved by Cowan. And of course, Cowan has been familiar with success in the past when he was with the Benders, as they had a back and forth rivalry with the Whalers. And now he has to adapt to a whole new team, as this one's lifted up, and this is not going to reach the number 10 Chris Young, but it'll be the Lock Monsters back the other way from Mitch Stevens. Edgecombe back the other way, looking at Southern, tries to dodge around to the left. Button Hooks, and we'll try to pass towards outside the slot. Knocked down, shot saved by Cowan. Another one, and it's lifted out, but out of play by Hooks, and this will stay in the zone. And control will go to the Big Hawks. Lift it up once again. It seems like they are just saying, heck with it. We're not going to organize anything, just go for it. And left side for Mitch Stevens. Tries to go center. Southern knocks it back. Stevens over to Christopoulos. From the corner, back to Stevens, wide the net. To Giacomo, along with Hooks. Up it goes, and whistled down as, actually I don't know why it went, they whistled it down. Because it didn't look like it went out of play. I am not sure, but the face-off's going to stay in the zone. And back to the Big Hawks one more time. Trying to fight for control. Getting shoved by DiGiacomo behind the net. DiGiacomo one more time. Takes a shove. And wow, I'm surprised no call was made there. As that one's going to be pushed down the floor. And Chris Thompson will take control. Wow, I'm quite surprised that that was not a penalty. As this one will be lifted up. Southern will push it to the corner. I think their only reasoning would be that it was not a full-on body check. It was more of a one-hand shove. I think that would be their only explanation. As Hooks will try to get away from Christopoulos. Swatted back. Trying to cross over is Young, unable. Thompson on the left circle, dodges, shot high and wide. One more time, outside the net. Back to Reed Southern for the Hawks. Lifted up, kept in by Stevens. Deeks around, shot, wide, rebound, and that one goes behind the net. As the Hawks try to go, they try to go for Young, who is waiting at the point. Rebound score! Joey Murphy with the rebound, and the Hawk Monsters will have a 1-0 lead. Murphy gets his third of the season off a lucky bounce towards him, and Lock Monsters finally break through and now have controlled the game as the Hawks try to go for another attack, but it's deflected out of play. And they're going to put the drop at the line. And back it goes to the Lock Monsters, going up to Edgecombe. I would think that the Big Hawks would have to start trying to play aggressive now, because they have spent too much time in their zone. Here's a shot that's to the backboard, around to Reed Southern. Because we really haven't seen a breakout from the Big Hawks. It was pretty much all long bombs and dump-ins. That's pretty much it. And poke back over to John Cowan. He is making a risky move, but this will go behind the net. Here's a shot, glove save, and as outside the net, around the boards, trying to race it down to the line. He's not going to be able to do that. As Dan Galt will retreat, and everyone's back on side. Crosses intended for Edgecombe. Back to Steve Nato for the Hawks. He'll dodge around Thompson. Nato crosses for St. Louis. St. Louis with a shot and a save by Story, and looks like the Big Hawks have finally woken up and decided to go for a breakout. Back to the Big Hawks. Hooks with a shot, and that is a save, and the deflection hits the ceiling, and we'll have another face-off with about 1:45 remaining. Well, someone had jumped the gun, but they're going to keep playing anyway. As DiGiacomo will take it behind the net. Will hold up and wait. See St. Louis on the other side of the net. And now we'll try to go for a stretch pass. This is everybody. Wow, I thought that hit Reed Southern stick, but they're going to call it icing. And toss-up's going to go to the Lock Monsters. Dan Galt with control and dump down, but it's going to be an icing against the Lock Monsters with less than a minute remaining in the period. One by St. Louis, but the Lock Monsters quickly get control back, and now a race between DiGiacomo and HAWKS. HAWKS is going to win control, but dumps around over to Joey Murphy. Murphy and Young battling for control. Pops out, goes to Steve Nato. He'll backhand it out. 22 remaining, and trotting it down is Mitch Stevens. Stevens will walk up with 13 seconds remaining in the period. Off the stick, and it'll go over to Murphy. He tried a shot, but he got interrupted, and Cowan swats it away, and he'll just play keep away for the remainder of the 3 seconds, and that will do it for the first period. So a bit of cautious play leads to a goal, as the Lock Monsters pretty much had control for much of the period. 1-0 after 1. See Kevin Frost on the bench. He is with the team, but he is not playing in this game because of an injury. So that is one part of their defense, part of their core that they have got to fill in, as a long shot goes high and wide as we get underway in the second period. As Stevens will do a stretch pass. Looks like it is Thompson, and centers up. Here's a close-up shot and a save by Cowan. That shot coming from Ebner, and it hits the ceiling, and this will stay inside the Big Hawks zone.
You get the door? Okay.
And it will be back over to the Big Hawks. Trying to get away from Patrick Barbado. First time I called his name in this game, even though I said this is a player to watch. So here's Ryan Hooks, leaves it, and Galt will play around over the edge comb. Lifted towards center, hit a glove, and it'll be back over to Stevens. Centers, and whiffed. The shot was Ebner. Here's Galt with a chance, and that one got deflected away. Behind the net goes, everybody digging for it, and pushed to the corner by Hooks. Edgecombe will have control. Edgecombe along with Hooks, St. Louis standing by on the outside. It will pop out to the circle, and St. Louis will get it for the Big Hawks, and will just push it out as Barbado will circle back. And by the way, I mentioned Kevin Frost, as of right now, 1 goal, 2 assists this season. And a shot is blocked by Hooks, and out it goes. And so yeah, the stats have been minuscule, mainly because of the injury that he's been dealing with. And St. Louis on the turnover. Back to Stella, shot wide of the net. In the first period, the Big Hawks have been playing cautious, and they only had 3 shots on net. And trying to get around Greg Berlanti, one of our officials. Here's a shot from Stevens wide of the net and covered up by Cowan. High up, it'll be back over to Stevens. That one wide of the net. And tried to center up, but it'll be taken away by Brian Hooks. He'll lift it out, and no icing here as Stevens will trot it down. About 3 minutes gone in the second period. The Lock Monsters still hold a 1-0 lead. A goal coming from Joey Murphy. Will cross. Thompson tried to cross pass, but it was stick check. It'll be back to Christopoulos for the Lock Monsters. Dodges around. Looking at Reese Southern. Passes. And that one would be poked just wide of Cowan. And Cowan swinging his stick around the net, keeping Christopoulos at a distance. And away it goes as Christopoulos trots it down. And everybody tagging up. The St. Louis trying to put on the pressure, but passed a little too early. It's an offside against the Lock Monsters. And it'll pop out of the zone as the Big Hawks will do another long bomb. That misses. So it looks like not much has changed in the strategy of the Big Hawks. They are just doing slap shots from the line and poked away. And the Big Hawks are now going to do a breakout. Try to pass it up. That was blocked. Now looking at a double team. Center's up for Young, and that one just hits Story and will go to the corner. A one-timer from the slot. And now back over to Hooks. Bomb, and that one is saved by Story. And that will be down the floor for an icing. And the Big Hawks are trying to pull a sneaky one there. That was coming from St. Louis at the circle. Back over to Southern. He'll try a shot. That's blocked. We'll get it away over to Edgecombe. And now race this with Hooks. Over to the corner. Hooks will win the race. We'll cross over to Reed Southern. 8:45 remaining in the second period. Off the boards. And clear down the floor as it will be Dan Galt with control for the Lock Monsters. Looking at Chris Young. Off the boards over to Edgecombe. Edgecombe looking at Hooks. Kept to the outside. Tries center. Intercepted by Hooks. And now I'll do a stretch pass over to Steve Nato. Nato with a shot saved by Story, and he'll hold on. And it'll be in control of the Lock Monsters. Stevens will take it behind the net. We'll play off the boards. Goes to Christopoulos. Hooks trying to keep it in, unable. Other way it goes between Southern and Christopoulos. Christopoulos takes control behind the net. Was looking for a wraparound, unable. Over to DiGiacomo. Interrupted by Steve Nato. Poke behind the net, and it's going to be Reed Southern off the corner boards. Tries to beat it up. And it's going to be back over to Stevens. Shot high and wide. Christopoulos with a second chance. That one goes wide. Back to Tony DiGiacomo. A lot of traffic out front and now across. And rushing in was Chris Young, but can't get there in time. Centers unable to get a shot off. And Stella will play down over. Intended for Young, but will be picked up by Dan Galt. Galt will just play it over to DiGiacomo behind the net. Still at a 1-0 game. It's been more of a tactical game, if that's the right word. And tipped by DiGiacomo and easily gloved by Cowan. And back into the corner and around the board. And who's going to pick this one up? It's the number 24. Around and back down as the Lock Monsters once again have to chase it down. Looking at two white jerseys, and I'll play it off the safety netting. Trying to deke around towards outside the slot. Goes to the right circle, shot going wide, and Cowan trying to reach for it, and he will cover. Won by the Lock Monsters. back of the point, defense spreading out. Thompson tries a shot and tipped into the corner between Hooks and Edgecombe. Backhanded back to Hooks. Trying to take a look, and now we'll go over to Stella. He'll dump it down the floor just in front of the circle that negates the icing. Chris Thompson will take a look, and now we'll reset. And I have to think that their possession time has been sky high. And speaking of, there's a shot that's saved by Cowan. And he is trying to decide what to do, and now he decides to cover. And it's been a slow pace so far. And toss up back to DiGiacomo for the Lock Monsters. Holding up, crosses to Thompson. Winds up, shot, wide, and bounces back to Cowan, and he makes sure that it's trapped in the glove.
Find another knee stick.
And he'll be back to Hooks. Tied up and try to go back over to Thompson. It's going to go down the floor, and luckily that went off in opposition, so it's an icing against the Big Hawks. Tie up in the draw. Murphy tries shot. He's the lone goal scorer so far this game. Looking for control, and St. Louis just in front of the circle. And once again, down the floor to Dan Galt. The possession time heavily favoring the Lock Monsters. I'm not quite sure what the strategy is for the Big Hawks. It's been a minuscule time for them.
Yeah, drop back, Joe.
And it's going to be back to the circle in the corner. And intended that one for a goal, and it's going to be out of the zone. And I was just noted that they actually only have one sub, so that would make a lot more sense trying to conserve energy.
Good time, quick.
And Chris Thompson beats it up towards outside the slot. And if they can actually hold the Lock Monsters to only one goal this far into the game with only 6 runners, then they've been doing a pretty good job on defense in this game. But at some point, they're going to have to start attacking. And it's just been long shots as Thompson will go to the left circle. Now everyone digging in. He'll be back to the Lock Monsters. Glove down by Thompson. Shot is blocked by Hooks. Thompson one more time. Outside the slot. Tries to sneak around. Hooks feeds it to Murphy behind the net. And that one just missed the head of Brian Hooks. Here's a shot wide of the net. Not by much. And Steve Nato will just feed it back down the floor. And the Big Hawks, again, trying to conserve energy. With about 1:35 remaining in the second period. From the boards, and a low roller covered up by Cowan. And lofted up, the glove down, but he would have to play it himself. He does get it himself. Mitch Stevens in the corner. We'll go back to the point. Dan Galt. Crosses. Barbado. We'll feed up to Ebner. Try center. Off a stick. Ebner one more time. Centers up one more time for Stevens. We'll try to circle towards the boards. Looking at 2 defenders. Off the safety netting back to Dan Galt. Gold trying to feed it. Can he find a man? He finds Edgecombe. Stevens. Saved by Cowan with 33 remaining. And everyone trying to fight for it. Who's got it? It's the Lock Monsters. Stevens with a shot wide. And Cowan was trying to look to cover it, but taken away by Reese Southern. And up to NATO with 8 seconds remaining. NATO trying to get one effort going. Young tries a long shot, but it's going to miss everything. And that is it for the second period. A tactical game. And we had nothing coming out of that period. We remain at a 1-0 game for the Lock Monsters. It was just noted to me during the intermission that there's been a lot of shots, but hardly anything on the net, as both teams are still in single digits on shots on net. That's a bit surprising considering how much time the Lock Monsters have had with possession. And try to go to Barbado, but knocked back to Steve NATO, and that is wide. Up to Edgecombe, and gave it up. NATO one more time, saved by Story. Well, now the Big Hawks are starting to get their shot count up, as the Lock Monsters trying to hold on. Barbado plays up to Stevens, glove down by Southern. Southern gets away from one, got double teamed. It'll go to the corner to Chris Thompson. Finding that to Mitch Stevens. Off the boards to Patrick Barbado. And turned it over to Hooks. Shot! And a blocker save goes to the safety netting. And try to center up one more time. Can't find anyone. Ebner back the other way. And takes a poke check and gave it up to Brian Hooks. Has to race it down along with Barbado. Hooks trying to protect that ball. Does so, plays around over to St. Louis. St. Louis feeds it up, try to look for a tip from Young. Can't get one on net. In the story of this game, a lot of shots, hardly anything on net. And back over to Thompson, taking a poke check from Young. And Barbado looks like he's getting held, but the hands stay down. Wow, it looks like he got held, but no penalty call. And back it goes to Ebner. Back over to Barbado. Wrist shot, that is high. Edgecombe tries to feed it back and turn it over. Steve NATO facing one. Feeds it, and a tip from Young goes wide. Back to NATO. Tries to set her up off a stick, trying to protect it. Goes back to Southern. Southern looking at two defenders, crosses to Hooks. Hooks with a long bomb that's blocked by Christopoulos. And here's a long bomb from the Lock Monsters themselves, but this is more the purpose of getting a change. We'll feed it around over to Brian Hooks. And over to Chris Young. Does get it to St. Louis, trying to develop a 2-on-1. Crosses over to Stella. Stella holds on, backhands it, unable to find a man. St. Louis with a stick lift. Tries a shot, wide. Back to Dave Stella, trying to race down a couple blue jerseys. Back over to Southern. Tries a shot, glove saved by Story. He decides to play on. Mitch Stevens for the Lock Monsters. Looking at Brian Hooks. Crosses left over to Christopoulos. Shot saved by Cowan. Glove down by NATO. And we'll clear it out. And they're going to say play on. As Story will leave it over to Dan Galt. Everyone crosses over to Giacomo, taking a look. Sees a white jersey looming and goes over to Christopoulos. Christopoulos getting a shove from Brian Hooks. Tries to feed it up, but gave it away to Mitch Stevens. Stevens with a shot that's blocked. Brian Hooks back the other way and does get it away from a Lockmonster chasing him, and Story will drop it off for Chris Thompson. And Thompson up to DiGiacomo, but gave it away over to Brian Hooks. So crossover to Southern, but they have to tag up as they dump it back out. Christopoulos looking at St. Louis, and now Brian Hooks holds up, and now will feed back over to Stevens. Shot, tried to tip, missed everything. As Hooks getting double teamed. And gave it away over to Chris Young the other way, but unable to hold on as it's back to St. Louis. Crosses to Nato. Nato with a shot just a little wide. Now I would expect that the Big Hawks will have to start burning the fuel, as they still need to get one. As Young tried to feed it up, unable, back to DiGiacomo. Brian Hooks tries a wrist shot that's blocked. Nato, one more time for the Big Hawks, holds up and now feeds it to St. Louis, and a shot saved by Story. The whistle hasn't blown. It looked like Story wanted a whistle, but he did not get it. And no, they're gonna say play on. Well, now the whistle has blown. A little bit of confusion here, as there was going to be a call of an icing, and I heard them say play on, and then the whistle blew. So there's a bit of confusion here, but it looks like the icing call is the call that is made. Goes back, Southern lines up, shot, saved by Story, loose ball, and it'll be back over to the Lock Monsters. And Southern trying to hold on for control, getting double teamed, and now it's going to be back to Brian Hooks, who will try to slot it out, unable. Goes over to Edge, calling it the slot, holds on, still holding on to that ball. Centers up, can't get a shot, and now gets one, and covered up by Cowan. Looks like the Lock Monsters are trying to push the pace here. And now a timeout being called. So it looks like the Big Hawks have called a timeout. And it looks like they're trying to catch their breath here. Remember, they only have one sub for this game, and it's quite something that they actually held the Lock Monsters to the score it is right now. 7:27 remaining in regulation, with Joey Murphy the lone goal scorer. For much of the game, it's been a slow pace. It's more tactical, as the Big Hawks are just trying to conserve their energy. A lot of long shots from the point. They did get an occasional breakout, but that's something that they're going to have to start doing with 7.5 remaining in regulation. They're going to have to start using some of that energy. But right now, out of the 6 runners I have, St. Louis is the one sitting on the bench. But they're using the timeout to give them a chance to catch their breath. It will be Stella and Ebner on the draw, and Stella wins the draw. Tries to feed it up off a glove, and wow, was that a hold? Oh, they're going to be matching penalties, a hold and an interference. So we're going to play 4-on-4. Oh, that's quite an unusual call.
4-on-4.
So it's going to be Chris Young with a hold. And it's going to be Galt with the interference. quite an interesting play. So let's see how that works out for both sides here. And this would be more interesting on the big Hawks side with some more room to work with. And now Hooks with another long shot. That one dribbles wide. This story will play it back and forth with Thompson and Edgecombe with control as we are nearing the halfway point of the third period. And Hooks trying to slot it away. Edgecombe will retain control. Puts it back. Ebner crosses. Tries to get a return. It's blocked. Barbado lays it around over to Ebner. Ebner will circle back around into the corner. Opposite side, Barbado back with control. Tries a shot and a stick save by Cowan. And it would be Edgecombe back in the corner trying to avoid our official Palpelka. Steve Nadeau puts it up to Brian Hooks. And right now just play a little keep away. Southern back to Hooks behind the goal line. And will now cross. Reed Southern holding on, trying to get away from Thompson. Manages to get to the circle. Goes back to Nadeau. Trying to control the ball. Shot is blocked by Ebner. Back to the point. Hooks trying to sell the ball down. Gets it the way over to Nadeau. Nadeau holds on. Shot is blocked. Nadeau will backhand it up to Stella. Stella around the boards, trying to go to Southern. They have to watch for Barbado, and the shot goes wide. Tried to backhand it, had plenty of space on the net, but unable to control the ball. Here's Thompson back the other way. And a shot saved by Cowan. A rebound that is wide. The penalty is about to expire. Crosses for Southern. And it hits the ceiling, and I think they're going to let them out because I think the penalties had expired just before the whistle blew, so we will go back to 5-on-5. Feeds up to DiGiacomo off the boards around Southern. And now it's going to be between Galt and Hooks. He tries to get around. I gave it away. Try to see who that was. That might have been Murphy. Stevens holds on with control. Wrist shot down low. It gets a deflection. And a stick save by Cowan. And Hooks puts it right back to him, and he'll cover up. With about 4:40 remaining in regulation. But Cowan has been pretty much holding up the team. As we're still at a 1-0 game. As Southern feeds around to St. Louis. And Stella trying to get around Mitch Stevens. Battle on the boards, pinning him up. Still looking for control. Pops out, goes over to Reed Southern for the big Hawks. Around over to Brian Hooks on the opposite corner. Two blue jerseys chase him down. Christopoulos moves in, but it pops out. Joey Murphy will just feed it back down, and the Lockbuster is forced to tag. Hooks crosses to Southern. Southern tries a long shot, saved by Story. He has to let it go. No opposition jerseys around him. As Hooks tried to glove it down, but it's going to be Murphy the other way. Tries to feed it to the slot, and that was swatted. Back to Murphy on the corner. Christopoulos, slap shot. No, it hit the bottom of the crossbar, and the ref says no. Wow, that was really close. We'll have to look at that again. But it is ruled it did not go over the line entirely. And the big Hawks may have a chance here. The shot went wide. Nadeau with control. Tries to feed the slot. Trying to look for it. And it will go back over to Lock Monsters. DiGiacomo on a 2-on-1 with Brian Hooks. Goes to the outside. Tries to feed it to Christopoulos. Unable to, and swatted away by Cowan. Between Christopoulos and St. Louis. Christopoulos escapes. Looks at Brian Hooks. Went off a body. Everybody digging in. 2:48 remaining in regulation. The other way over to Nadeau. Shot wide, but it got the stick of Story anyway. Young tries to go slot. but it's going to be a 3-on-2 for the Log Monsters. Slap shot. He scores! I'm not sure how that one got in, but the long bomb works for the Log Monsters, and they now have a 2-0 lead. And the clock is still running, even though it's supposed to be stopped. I think they're going to put some time back on the clock. We got the 2:30 back on. So the clock is now stopped, and they've put some more time back on the clock, and it's at 2:30. So Chris Thompson, the one that scores the goal. And feeds back over to Brian Hooks. He'll try a long one himself, and they have pulled their goalie. 6-on-5. St. Louis from the left. Shot just a little wide. Back to Chris Young. Cowan on the bench for the Big Hawks. And a shot didn't get all of that one-timer. Shot coming from Nato. Waiting behind the net. The crease is crowded right now. It pops out, and luckily that's going to stay outside the net. But the play is going to continue. Steve Nato with control. Nato holding on, feeds it back to St. Louis. Nato trying to escape Stevens. And a shot saved by Story. Young around the net. Thompson trying to get away from Hooks, unable. Hooks gets control. Hooks with a shot, and that goes into the corner. Less than 90 remaining. Goes out, and look out, an empty net chance, but that's going to go wide. And Brian Hooks really has to push his team now with 1:10 remaining. Off the boards to St. Louis. We'll try to go to Stella. He'll get there. Chris Young gets control in the corner. Centers up, less than a minute remaining. Back to the point. Hooks holds up, goes to Nato, shot, and it's saved. Still holding on, along with Thompson. Gets away, tried the backhand, unable to get through. Tries center again, gets Barbados, shot! Point blank from Hooks, and that did not get all the way through. And look out. And almost a good one-handed catch by Christopoulos on the bench. And the clock stops at 33 seconds.
Clock sucks, man.
So the Big Hawks are going to have to get 2 quick ones here. As they try to clear out, it is out. Is it? It is an icing. So the clock stops at 27. Back to Young, leaves it, tries to go to Southern. Oh, this is going to be an easy empty netter. He'll leave it, and it's in. We'll see the credit to DiGiacomo, as I think that was lying on the line. So I think DiGiacomo will get credit for the empty netter. And 3-0 lead, and the Lock Monsters are going to come out the victors on this one. And they are just going to feed it down, try to kill the remainder of the clock. Stevens along with Young. They'll just go around, and Stevens one last time will just backhand it out, try to kill the clock. And Murphy will just hold on, and that will do it, as the Lock Monsters will get the shutout on what has been a tactical game. 3 different goal scores, and Story has stopped all the shots, albeit not many.
It'd be interesting to see if that wasn't the net though. I saw it off
The Lock Monsters get a much needed win in the standings. They are now 2s across the board, and that will move them up to 3rd place, bypassing the Big Hawks. So we'll be back with a wrap up. Well, the Big Hawks came in trying to go for a conservative tactical play against the Lock Monsters, who have been struggling this season, but it just was not to be. They were just outplayed as well as pretty much tired. They did not have many guys on their bench, only one, and they were pretty much just going for long shots instead of going for breakouts. So they probably could have gotten a lot more chances then, but in the end, there was not many shots hit the net in this game, so accuracy has been a problem. So this is going to be quite a task for the Lock Monsters going forward. They do gain 3rd place now, but their defense and as well as their accuracy in the offense does need to be improved. So that will do it for this game as we are getting to the second half of the season. I'm Daniel Wilson from XL Sports World. We'll see you next time around. The RSHL is supported by AllBlackHockeySticks.com. The stick of choice for many players of the RSHL is a very light and durable stick for only $89. AllBlackHockeySticks.com.